Everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So Trump's ousted cybersecurity official, Chris Krebs, is taking legal action against President Donald Trump, so-called attorney Joe DiGenova, and Newsmax, and I couldn't be happier. I'm glad somebody finally is. So if you're not familiar with what this is all about, here's the basics. Krebs was fired in November. He was fired by Trump after he publicly announced that the election was completely secure, that it was free from any major fraud or interference by foreign actors. Shortly after his dismissal, Trump's sycophant, Joe DiGenova, went on, I guess you could call it the younger, hotter, newer version of Fox, known as Newsmax. People are leaving Fox for Newsmax. And he said this.
Anybody who thinks that this election went well, like that idiot Krebs, who used to be the head of cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah, the guy that was on 60 Minutes last night.
That guy is a Class A moron. He should be drawn and quartered, taken out at dawn and shot.
So what you heard there was DiGenova calling for this man's murder. And while he's a complete moron, DiGenova is at least bright enough to realize that he crossed the line. So he tried to walk back his comment, and he tried to claim that it was a joke, but you heard it yourself. There was no laughter. This comment was not made in jest. They weren't joking around. And we all know that our country's at a boiling point. And comments like that send not so stable people over the edge, which has led to death threats and people in Michigan plotting to kidnap and murder the Michigan governor. I mean, even Trump supporters have been getting death threats. Their family members are getting death threats. Their wives are receiving sexualized threats of rape and murder. And as anyone with half a brain could have predicted, DiGenova's comments caused chaos in the life of Mr. Krebs and his family. So Mr. Krebs is fighting back. Again, I am so happy he is. In a newly filed lawsuit, Krebs is suing DiGenova, Trump, and Newsmax. And the lawsuit alleges that Krebs was, quote, bombarded with threats since the comments aired, and, quote, the defendant's threats have upended plaintiff's life as well as his family's security and caused serious fear, distress, suffering, and even physical damage. So Krebs' attorney is a man named Jim Walden, and he said that his client, Mr. Krebs, was forced to move out of his home and hire private security following DiGenova's comments, and that, quote, he and his family feel terribly threatened. Or I guess you could say it in a way that the MAGA crew would understand better. He feels very threatened. He has been threatened. His children have been threatened. So, sorry. I don't mean to make a joke. I have to laugh at everything. But yes, that was what's her face that became an SNL character. So Krebs, who is threatened, has said that he no longer allows his children to play in the front yard out of fear that something will happen to them. He even told one news outlet that his 10-year-old son asked him if he was going to be executed, something that shouldn't ever be on the mind of a child. Apparently, Krebs is seeking financial damages from all three parties. Now, Newsmax is trying to moonwalk out of the whole situation. They're claiming, oh, we have no official ties to DiGenova. He just comes on and spews bullshit every once in a while. So, I mean, that's not the way they said it, but the network did put out a statement. They said, quote, Newsmax believes that claims made by Mr. Krebs in his suit of a conspiracy, and they have that in quotes, and defamation against him are a threat to free speech, and his legal action endangers all media organizations that seek an open discourse of ideas and news. Well, first of all, I wouldn't exactly call Newsmax news. I think they should rebrand and rename themselves because they're just made up BS. But second of all, Your right to free speech ends when that free speech endangers the lives of others. When you use that speech to call for violence against someone, or you incite violence by your speech, that's not allowed. That's not protected under the First Amendment. You can't just make wildly irresponsible statements that lead to harm. And DiGenova knows that, which is why he's now scared shitless and trying to reframe what he said and feigning remorse. And he put out an apology, but he's still claiming that it, was all just in jest, all in good fun. So hopefully this lawsuit puts everyone on notice that the days of irresponsible reporting and allowing these conspiracy theorists, lunatics to take over your network will result in consequences, because this needs to come to an end. It's every day we're hearing of people receiving death threats and having their homes surrounded. And this is all being perpetuated. This is all being incited by Trump and the people at the top. These people with large platforms who are pushing this stuff and riling people up and getting them to go ballistic over something that it doesn't even exist, something that's totally fake. In the words of the MAGA crowd, facts don't care about your feelings. The fact is, he's now lost over 50 lawsuits because he has no facts on his side. There is no evidence and no proof that there was any widespread voter fraud. He lost by a huge margin. People hate his ass. I know that comes as a shock because you're in your little bubbles. But truly, there are a lot of people, over 81 million people in this country, who hate him with a passion and don't ever want to see his face again. That's the reality. Millions of others who are just too young to vote but feel the same way. All right. I will talk with you soon. As always, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching and listening. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.